So let's talk about episode 2 of Vaser Claw, right? This is the newest episode of the GT Network miniseries Vaser Claw, which is technically a spin-off of the recently, released TV series, web series, sorry, Magnolia, right? And pretty much, yeah, it just pretty much follows where the last episode stopped off, where you see our hero Vaser Claw, and the this random Trinidadian guy who more or less is the not so much a guide, but just like a traveling partner, if you will, for our hero as he goes about his quest, right? And they kind of get themselves into a little bit of shenanigans and whatnot here or there. Um, One in particular involving a warrior, and for the life of me, when I saw this, instantly what came to mind was a little music video called Mud Madness from, the Great Tree Canal, right? If you're familiar with that video, you know what I'm talking about, right? So it's very juvie-like, that's all I'll say, in terms of the reveal of this character here, right? So while Visa Claw is going about on his mission now, his mother, Queen Lucinda, we actually follow up on her as well, right? And she pretty much is kind of investigating this issue involving Excalibur, right? She's kind of investigating that. So Excalibur is pretty much what kind of spurred our hero to go on his mission in first place. But she kind of learning that there's some stuff that going on. So maybe what she believes and what her son believes, aren't true. So that's all we'll say, but it kind of leaves it out there the open for now, right? And then finally we follow up on the lean and where the last episode was. Basically, she was in the middle of training. She's in this forest here, but she's hearing voices. She's actually hearing her own voice, but in a distorted manner. And it's pretty much kind of demeaning her and telling her that she isn't worth it, and she's terrible and all that kind of stuff, right? And then she finally sees for herself exactly where the voice comes from, and I'll stop right there, right? So just to get the good out of the way, right? Visually, again, this is just another great episode, true and true. Whether it's the green screen, composite effects, composite visuals in the background and whatnot, or the natural visuals themselves, right? And just to touch on that for a bit, just seeing just the locales where we see Vaser Claw and Keith, who is the Trinidadian, just seeing them walk through these sort of this sort of isolated sandy areas, right? I know it's over by Claxon Bay, around that area basically, but just those visuals look excellent in my opinion, right? And then of course, the drone shots look very, very impressive as well, right? And yeah, it just makes for this great sort of it makes for a great sci-fi world, right? That's all I would say, right? But in terms of the reveal of the warrior, that was pretty interesting as well. I'm not gonna say who the actor playing the warrior is, but all I had to say is that this guy is clearly destined to be an action star, man. I mean, he is already, but I know that there's so much more that he could do in terms of the action movie or film realm, man. You know what I mean? Because he just has that presence, and I mean, he have the moves down and whatnot, right? Although I do wish that the fight ran for a little bit longer, though it just kind of comes and stops, right? And that's just the problem there, right? And that to me kind of leads to the main gripe that I have with this episode, man. It was unbelievably short though, like oddly short though. And this is an episode that also includes a previously on segment at the beginning, and then of course the title cards and whatnot, the end title sequence at the end, right? So I was a little confused as to why this episode was so short, right? Now I understand, what I mean, in terms of just the production of shows like this, what I mean, time is not usually something that Ansel has been able to control, 100% of the time. Case in point, there were a few episodes of Magnolia that kind of ran a little too short and whatnot, right? So while the first episode I felt could have gone a little bit longer, this one, yeah, this episode here clearly could have gone on for at least 5 or 10 more minutes. You could tell that there's just so much story that could be told, right? And while I do appreciate where this episode ends now, it makes for a great reveal and whatnot. I'm not gonna say what happens, but it's in the trailer. I still wish that we got more in between there, right? There's a considerate amount of time spent on the character of Queen Lucinda, which I appreciate, and just her more or less kind of trying to investigate this thing with Excalibur and whatnot. But still, even that and all too, just kind of came and went, right? And even worse now with Lillian as well too, because there's a great reveal involving her as well, right? And like I told you, we're gonna see more of that, but unfortunately, that's kind of just delegated to one scene. So again, I just find it kind of odd that we just got a really short episode. So I don't know if that means with the last two episodes if they're gonna be just as long as the first one, or if they're gonna be like really long. You know what I mean? I just kind of just wish, like, this hope in my mind that one day, Ansel and his team could get to the point where we could actually get like full, I don't know, like half hour long or hour long episodes. But I have no problem with the 20-minute stuff, right? But here it's just like, wow, like that's like half of that though. Like what's going on here? So I kind of am a little bit worried here, man, because I just think that there's just so much story that could be told, that could have been told, I should say, in this one episode. But unfortunately, we just have to wait till the third one. But still, again, it's just like, just feels like there's a lot missing here, man. So while I was not completely wowed by this episode, and this just mainly is because of time, though, the consistency in terms of I should say the quality is still there. Whether it's the acting, the dialogue, the dubbing, the cinematography, the color correction. Yes, this color correction, or I should say the colorist who work on this, man. I mean, I know who it is. I mean, it's in the credits, but another job well done there, man. And we also got another like stirring, musical score at the very end of this episode here, man, which I would say rivals what we got in the first episode, right? So I would just assume, I'm just going off the assumption that what we heard in the first episode is the main theme, and this one kind of feels like, maybe it's just like another team, or just like more or less meant to represent another moment or key moment in this overall narrative. But it works, and it sounds just as great, just as stellar as the last one, man. So yeah, I mean, not much more I could say. Solid episode again, but once again, boy, it's just that time, boy, was the main flaw with this one, unfortunately. So I do hope that with the last two episodes we don't get like that ridiculously short length here. I do hope that the story is well played out. You know what I mean? By the time we kind of like, well, by the time this miniseries wraps up, and we kind of look back at everything and we're like, okay, everything kind of just works together. You know what I mean? It all kind of plays out into this grand story that totally works from a narrative perspective, right? But again, I just wish that we got more out of the second episode, right? So, but still, I mean, it's solid for what it is, though. It is absolutely worth checking out. If you've been enjoying, this series thus far, yeah. Well, I should say the last episode, then you're gonna really appreciate this second episode here. As before, you can check out this episode here and the previous episode on on the GT Caribbean Network's website. And yeah, can't wait to see what we get with episode 3.